Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hi, how are you? My name is Jeannie and this is Unfiltered 50s, and tonight we are doing another episode of Beauties and the Beat. And this is where me and my friend Rhonda over at Rhonda Said, we team up. 1 week it's on my channel, 1 week it's on her channel, and we do an episode of music and makeup where we feature an artist that we really love along with a makeup brand or palette, new release, something along those lines that we really love. I tried to feature some of the new collections that I've been getting in, or a new palette that I've been getting in, teamed up with one of the artists that I really love. My taste in music are just a little bit different than Rhonda's, and so that's why we make good partners. So she features just a little bit of something different on her channel than I do on mine. We make a really good team that way. So don't forget to check out her videos every other Friday on her channel, mine on my channel. So in tonight's video, we are, you can tell by the thumbnail, we are featuring Texas Blues. And what I mean by that is I am featuring the artist that I am very enamored with, one of my idols, and that is Stevie Ray Vaughan. And he is really, I would say, I just love his story. I love his music. I love the way he plays. I love the tragedy of it. I just love everything about him. And I could not be happier to have paired his portion of his Texas Blues with another Texas Blue. And that is Nomad Cosmetics. Guys, if you have not tried or heard of the brand Nomad Cosmetics, they are based in Stevie Ray Vaughan's birth town, Dallas, Texas. And what is better than to feature their brand new drop, their brand new release of their Iceland palette, which is a blue toned palette for Texas Blues with Nomad Cosmetics. This is another one of my favorite brands. It is an indie brand. I am a lover of indie brand cosmetics. I love to help out the smaller brand cosmetics brands because I think that they are very good cosmetics brands. So a lot of times your indie brands is really where it's at, and definitely with Nomad. This is the unicarton that it comes in. I have been playing with this one, and this is what the palette looks like when you open it up. It is a 15-pan eyeshadow palette, 7 matte, 6 shimmers, 2 duochromes. So I am so happy to have picked this one up and have it in. I will be doing a look for you with this palette tonight while we talk about my one of my idols, one of my heroes, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So if you want to see more about that, want to hear more about that, then just keep on listening. We're getting into the video right now, guys. I have already applied the Sydney Bathers palette from Nomad. If you don't have this palette, it is a great palette from them. It is a bronzer highlight palette. I've used this shade here, which is mainly Beach, and Balmoral Beach right here, which is the highlight I'm using. Love this palette. Really awesome. They may have changed up the format to be more of a smaller, flatter, just 4 in a row instead of the bigger square. But either way, it's a great palette. Love that one. So I am wearing that one today as my bronzer. It's just beautiful, and my highlight. I'm really not wearing any blush yet to speak of, and I also have the bronzer on my eyelids as just a base color. For my foundation, I am using 2 different shades of the Natasha Denona transfer mat, and I'm actually liking this very, very much. So just to let you know what I have on, and I just have on a lippy pencil from Juvia's Place with a little bit of the JSC in Body Count. This one right here. So yeah, that's what I've got going on so far. So let's get started while we talk about Stevie Ray. So Stevie Ray was born October the 3rd of 1954 in Dallas, Texas. And he was born, well, really it was Oak Cliff area that he was born. So kind of on the outskirts of Dallas, kind of maybe the suburbs of Dallas, but it was a very blue-collar working class, more ethnic type area of town. So, you know, definitely not the upper class area of Dallas, more, you know, a working man's area of town. I'm going to go in with my Sonia G Crease 2. I just got this in my Beautylish Lucky Bag. I'll try to link that above if you want to see my unboxing of my Lucky Bag, but I did add to my Fundamentals collection. And I am going to go in with this kind of steely blue Odin shade right here. And so he was born to working class parents. Big Jimmy Vaughn and his mom both of them worked. She worked kind of, I think it was more like a secretarial type position work, you know, just basic type of working class people. My point being is that, you know, she was not at home during the day. And Stevie was, he was the younger brother. His older brother, Jimmy Vaughn, really was a big influence, even though for the most part, Jimmy Vaughn is not the better known of the two Vaughn brothers, and Stevie Ray was. Jimmy Vaughn in his own right is very, very well, was a very, very good musician, very, very good guitar player, and actually taught Stevie to play the guitar, and actually really fueled his love of music. And so at night and in the afternoons when they were by themselves, Jimmy was always bringing home records and playing the radio at night and listening to LPs and bringing home all types of music that had a huge influence. And that type of music was blues. It was Texas blues. It was music on the radio that they could pick up over the AM channels late at night, music that Wolfman Jack was playing, different radio stations that would come on when they would be sneaking around listening to the radio, because they were supposed to be sleeping, getting ready for school. And that is all they did, was play the guitar. And so, you know, they would be, their mom and dad would, you know, have to restrict them from playing the guitar. That's all they wanted to do. And he would bring home music and LPs from all different sorts of musicians, blues musicians. And Stevie really, really loved Johnny Lee Hooker, and he would play records over and over and listen to them over and over and over again and try to sing the parts and tried to play the parts exactly the same, mimicking what they would do. And he's really credited with reviving the Texas blues back in the 1980s. Just to give you a little bit of history about the blues, the first great bluesman himself was a guy by the name of Blind Lemon Jefferson. And this guy was born around the 1890s, and he actually recorded a record. They have records from him on file, and they actually have recordings of this guy. And then from him, there was a guy that befriended him and learned how to play the guitar like him and kind of emulated him. T-Bone Walker and guys like Lightning Hopkins, you know, they were kind of the pioneering bluesmen. Well, the guy that really kind of branded Texas blues, that was Johnny Winter. And for some reason, this guy really kind of took off, but he was this albino white guy, and he kind of branded the Texas blues, and it kind of, you know, after him it kind of fell away. And it really wasn't until Stevie Ray came along that people kind of got back interested in Texas blues, because in the 80s, you know, it was Beastie Boys and Duran Duran and all of these kind of European bands, David Bowie, and, you know, all of these people that were on the market, like a Seagull, all of these type of pop bands. And then, you know, here's Stevie Ray, and he's making an impact. It's kind of, he really didn't have an easy road to hoe with his type of music at all. But somehow, you know, he ends up making an impact because he's that good of a guitar player. There's always two things that if you're going to be famous and you're going to make an impact, there's two things that really need to happen. One, you need to have talent. But the other thing is that you have to have opportunity. And you have to be smart enough to know when that opportunity is there and how to seize it. And Stevie Ray had both. He had the talent, but opportunity came knocking and he seized it. And there were several different events that happened along the way that really opened up the doors for him. First of all, you know, he did have the talent, and he practiced and he played the guitar like every single day, every day, every day. So, you know, he honed his skills, and he was good. He was good. Nobody can deny that he was good. But, you know, he didn't cut his first record until he was 30, right at 30. So he had a long time to hone his skills into being that front man. So if you look at his career, his main idols were, you know, Johnny Lee Hooker, Albert King, definitely. Albert King, definitely. Albert King always said he was a black kid in a white body. And that he was his son. And he always called Albert King his godfather. They were really, really tight. But one thing that happened, one thing momentous that happened was that Jimmy Vaughn, his older brother, moved to Austin, where the music scene was happening. Because there really wasn't a lot going on in Dallas at the time. So Jimmy had started a band and was getting a lot of recognition. And so he and his band had moved down to Austin. So Stevie quit school and moved to Austin too. You know, that took a lot of guts, I would say, balls, to quit school and, you know, follow your dream like that. But he did, and when he was in Austin, he teamed up with several different bands. He had been in bands ever since he was 12. He was sneaking out at night out of his house to go play in clubs with bands from the age of 12. So in the mid-70s, Stevie decided he was going to start his band, the Blackbird. And this was after he and his friend had went and seen the Allman Brothers Band. This was just 2 weeks now before Duane Allman died. He was in several different bands after the Blackbirds busted up. He was in Nightcrawler, just several bands that allowed him to learn along the way down in Austin. But one of the key things that happened was this guy opened a club in Austin called Antone's. And Antone's, he wanted this club to be the hot spot for blues in Austin. And he was booking people like Buddy Guy and Albert King. All of the real hotshot blues people would come to Antone's to play. Well, the house band for Antone's was Jimmy Vaughn, Stevie's older brother's band. And so that he would get to go and meet all of these people. And he actually got to meet Albert King there and got to go on stage with him and play. So that was where he first met Albert King at. So that was a very fortunate meeting because, you know, Albert King saw right away that, wow, you know, this kid's really good. He can really play me like I play me. So that was a really big thing. And, you know, that club was really happening. They booked people like Muddy Waters, you know, just really heavy-hitting blues club. He started his next band, and he called it the Triple Threat Review. And during this time, he just was not confident enough in himself that he could be the lead singer. So he took on Luann Barton to be like the lead singer of the group. So he was still in the back. This just still wasn't quite working. So this went on for a while with Luann singing, Stevie singing a little bit, Luann singing, you know, and then fortuitously, all of a sudden, you know, Luann up and quits. And so in 1979, Luann quits the band and Stevie steps up to take the lead singer position. So at this point, Frances Down gets pulled in, and she had been the road manager for the Grateful Dead, and so she gets him hooked up with a good publicist, accountants, people that really knew how to take care of him. And so this was another fortuitous point that Stevie was, you know, getting networked in. And so then he goes and he plays. In 1982, he plays the Montreux Jazz Festival. And this was really kind of the turning point, because a lot of people were exposed to him here. Now, some people didn't quite like it because a lot of people were kind of Puritans in their thinking about music at this point, but a lot of people did like his music. And one of them was David Bowie. And David Bowie was like, oh man, you know, I really need him to play on this new record, Let's Dance. So David Bowie had Stevie play this riff in his pop song, Let's Dance. And that got him huge exposure for his guitar playing abilities. So things just really started moving for him from there. and he had really started getting back on track with, you know, record deals, and things were happening. He was releasing music. Things were really going good for him, except he was really busy and he was hitting the booze and hitting life pretty hard. Finally collapsed and hit his bottom and come to terms with the fact that, you know, he was either going to die or he was going to get sober. And he decided that he was going to go into a rehab and get sober. He really took his sobriety seriously, and he got sober and really made it stick, and got sober for real and for good. And he really started making a huge impact on people's lives around him, trying to not so much preach to people about getting sober themselves, but just saying, hey, you know, don't stay at the party too long. That was kind of his famous quote line. You can't stay at the party forever. Don't stay at the party too long. You know, do something about your sobriety. You know, do something about getting clean. And he would make a point to say that at his concerts, you know, that the stuff is going to kill you, you know, do something about it. And I really respect that about him. I really think that that was a good thing that he did, that he had the courage to speak up for other people, for saying that. You know, it's not easy to take that on about yourself, you know, and say that to someone, you know, hey, you know, you do you, but you really need to think about this. And he was instrumental in helping his older brother get clean, and I just think that that's, you know, just a really good thing. So, so one of the people that really helped make a difference in his life was his fiance, Jonna, and they, you know, had moved in together in an apartment. You know, he had filed for divorce, you know, from his first wife, and, you know, waiting for that to get finalized, and so he could move on from that. And he had started recording his fourth album, and he was specifically waiting for that to become finalized before recording that fourth album. And that album was just stellar. First album was Texas Flood, of course, absolutely phenomenal. Then he went into Couldn't Stand the Weather. That was a pretty good album too. Then Soul to Soul, not so much, but then In Step was absolutely phenomenal. Then he and his brother made an album together. Not super great, you know, because really Jimmy's not the singer that Stevie is, but okay. And then The Sky is Crying was made after he passed, with recordings, and it was made, you know, put together by his brother. A good album, just, you know, made from tracks that just did not quite fit the theme of the album, but still is a good album. So what happened was that his band had went up to Wisconsin to play at an arena for you know, a gig that was honoring Eric Clapton, and they were heading back to Chicago's Midway. And right at the last minute, Eric Clapton, one of Eric Clapton's, I think it was his bodyguard, his baggage was too heavy and couldn't board the helicopter. And so somebody had asked Stevie if he wanted to, ride back instead of driving back. He could save a couple hours and get back to the hotel earlier if he wanted to get, into the helicopter. And so he did. Well, the helicopter crashed into the side of a man-made, I think it was a man-made ski mountain, something like that, and crashed. And, that's what happened. He was 35 years old. He died on September of 1990. It was August 27th of 1990. He died right after my mom passed in 1990. It was just a couple weeks after my mom passed. And, oh my goodness, what a sad year. Oh my gosh, it was just terrible. It was just a horrible year. The type of person that he was so strong to have beat his addiction, and the message that he sent out there, that he was trying to help others. I'm going to finish up my other eye. I'll be right back. There's my final look on my eyes. What do you think? I think I'm liking it. I do love Nomad Cosmetics. I do love Stevie Ray Vaughan too. So I do hope that you've enjoyed another edition of Beauties and the Beat. I think that from today's session, one of my favorite things that I can walk away with is that out of the tragedy, I also feel like that he had some rough times with his brother, some estrangement. Right at the end, he had that time to come together with his brother and make that album where they had that time to spend together, that time of closeness. And there was an interview where he had said that he so needed to make that album with his brother. He needed that time. And it just touched my heart so much to know that he had that time with his brother before he passed. And that also knowing that right before he passed, he was in a really good state in his life because he and Jonna had gotten into that apartment. They were in a happy time of their life. They were moving into that apartment at that very moment. She was in New York moving into that apartment. And while it just really crushed me for her, I was also very happy that he had left during a happy moment while he, was also actively doing so much for others. So I was just so happy for that he was in that good state in his life. So time is so short, and that was one of the songs on the album that he and his brother had made together. It was talking about how time is short. And so don't forget that we are not guaranteed tomorrow. I definitely hope that you've enjoyed this edition of Beauties and the Beat. Tune in. I will definitely be following this up with another one of my idols, which is Albert King. He and Stevie did do a lot of playing together at the Fillmore East, which is another one of the places that I want to talk about. A wonderful place where Albert King and Janis Joplin used to play so much together. Janis, Jimmy, and Albert played together at the Fillmore East so many times, and I just love listening to live sessions from Fillmore East. If you want to explore music from Albert and Stevie Ray, get your hands on the live sessions from the Fillmore East. It is wonderful to see how much love there is between Albert King and Stevie Ray Vaughan in those sessions. You won't be sorry that you listened to them together. So I hope to see you in my next video. I have had so much fun hanging out with you guys tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video, guys. Smooches. Till next time. Bye for now.